Hello and welcome to ATP Report. I'm Barry Nussbaum. Our fabulous guest is back again today, friend of the ATP family and our chief on-the-ground correspondent, Will Johnson from United America First, is back with us. Welcome back, Will.
Glad to be here, Barry.
I spent a wonderful hour or two perusing the Unite America First website, courtesy of you and your staff. Lots of good stuff there, and I encourage all of our peeps to go check you out there. Everything we're going to talk about is from your site. Let's start out with the bizarre new rules in Kalamazoo, Michigan. When I was a kid, I used to go there periodically. Really nice town a long time ago. Now, it's legal to pee and poop and throw your garbage on the streets of Kalamazoo. Not a joke. Everyone in the business world and the residents downtown are up in arms. The place looks like a garbage dump combined with a sewer. I'm very serious. And here's how the city commissioner explains the change. Quote, if you see a person who may be defecating in the street, someone in their sane mind would not do that. That's from Stephanie Hoffman. So she continues, there's an issue. There's a trauma. There's a crisis going on, unquote. So in other words, according to Stephanie, we should feel sorry for the person that dumps in front of your store and you should go clean it up. Well, is civilization collapsing in Kalamazoo, Michigan?
Well, not just there, it's happening across the United States of America. Let's remember, California, San Francisco, that was the first place I heard about it. They were defecating everywhere, along with the needles all in the street, along with, sexual paraphernalia in the street. It's total lawlessness. And now it's moving to Michigan, it's moving to everywhere else. It's even happening here in Austin, Texas. And Barry, I think they're all competing with one another. Let's see who can catch up to San Francisco and even surpass them. That's what we're seeing. And it is destroying the nation, literally.
If you were a business owner and you'd let's say, worked your ass off for 25 years, saved up whatever, and opened a hardware store, and the parking lot and the parking and the sidewalk approaching Will Johnson Hardware was covered in feces, nobody would want to go there. Your business would go to zero. And what could you do about it?
Well, the most interesting thing is that as soon as you try to do something about it, you'll get leftists to come out and say you're being hateful. You're not being kind to these people. You need to be, you need to help them out because something's wrong with them, right? Instead of just saying, no, you cannot do this here. You're losing business. Not only will you lose your business, but the people that you employ, they'll lose a job. And they don't even take in consideration that they need to be able to keep the lights on, put food on the table. Democrats, the left, they'll do things not thinking about the repercussions of it later on.
Well, let's talk about a policy from the nation's leading Democrat that had horrific results of his policy. I'm talking about President Biden. On his first days in office, he cut off the pipeline from Canada, the oil pipeline I'm talking about. He restricted oil drilling across the country and offshore, and he turned down refining. So almost instantaneously, Joe Biden turned America from a net oil exporter, meaning we were producing more oil and gas than we could consume, to him flying to Saudi Arabia and saying, please sell us more gas. We don't have enough, right? So things went crazy. And what happened as a result? Well, gas prices went to the moon. Now, the solution from his transportation secretary, Pete Buttigieg, who was the failed mayor of South Bend, Indiana, my hometown, his solution is more Americans should buy electric vehicles so they never have to worry about gas prices again, except that these, EVs, electric vehicles, cost a fortune, not only to buy, but to maintain. And without a government subsidy, most of America can't afford them. I mean, Pete Buttigieg sounds like he's a shill for the electric car industry. What do voters think of this elitist government viewpoint that the solution to sky-high gas prices is go buy a $50,000 or $75,000 electric car?
Well, you know what, Barry? People can't afford it. I can't afford it. And think about it. I saw a report the other day where someone bought a vehicle for their daughter, an electric vehicle, because they didn't want to buy the gas. Well, come to find out, when you buy used vehicles, there's a lot of times there are maintenance that you have to do to them, and there might be something that come up after you make the purchase of the vehicle. Well, they purchased the vehicle, and I think they purchased the vehicle for like 20 something thousand, $23,000 for the electric vehicle. Come to find out, the battery is bad. They had to replace the battery. The battery costs $14,000. So they already spent $23,000. Now they got to spend another $14,000 to replace the battery. So this is not going to help anybody. This is not going to help out the situation. And at the same time, in order to charge these vehicles, you need natural gas, or you need fossil fuels, oil, to charge these vehicles, to make the energy for it. And you know what? This is what's happening here, Barry, is all about the Green Deal, the Green New Deal. It failed in the House because of Christian Sinema and Manchin. They both, because they didn't go along with it. It failed there. The Green New Deal fell flat on its face. All they're doing is still pushing forward with it. That's the reason why we're seeing the high gas prices going to the moon, like you just mentioned. That's the reason why we're seeing the food issues on the shelves, because of the Green New Deal. They did all of this because they didn't get it in the Senate to do it openly. They're just doing it. They're just causing it to make it happen. And if I can, Joe Biden just here mentioned just a couple last week that he's going to do an executive order for the climate change. Again, that is the Green New Deal. He's doing an executive order. And once he does the executive order, all of the oil that we do export, the oil that we export to China, that they're going to send, he's going to be able to say no more drilling to new oil. He'll be able to say that within the executive order. And you're right, Barry. What they're doing is going to cripple the United States of America.
It almost seems like that's the intention. And speaking about, this is outrageous. Speaking about Biden appointees, I don't think it gets any weirder than the transgender doctor, Rachel Levine, who is the assistant health secretary. Now, as you point out on your website, Rachel was born Richard Levine. He transitioned from a man to a woman and started calling himself Rachel about 10 years ago. And now Richard, who's Rachel, is advocating for teens to make their own transgender decisions for transition. There's the quote: sex reassignment surgery, which is castration, and puberty blockers, which is chemical castration for kids, is life-saving and medically necessary and age appropriate and a critical tool. Is this as crazy to you as it is to me? What's your take?
It's confusing, right? And he's supposed to be over the mental health of children when he has mental health issue himself. And he's going to be the mental health over children. They're convincing children not to be the way that God created them. And kids already have enough to deal with, and they're going to throw this at them. All this is going to do is it's going to cause more problems within the youth. It's just going to cause problems where there's going to be more suicide rate because people are confused and they end up butchering themselves at a young age. And then when they get older, they're going to like, what did I do? What did I do? And they're going to have this issues, and the suicide, like I just mentioned, is going to go through the roof. Like the gas, it's going to go through the roof. But that's what, I think, Barry, that's exactly what they want. I think they want that. They want more death. They want more chaos. It's because it's almost like they thrive on it.
Let me see if I can ask you on a different note, if you can explain this to me. There's a member of the House, Cori Bush. She's the best friend of the other squad leaders, AOC and Ilhan Omar, etc. And she said some personally horrible things about Israel. But more importantly, she continues to keep company with a number of people that literally spew out anti-Israel, anti-Semitic opinions on social media consistently. One of her major fundraisers is this person, Naveen Ayesh, who appears in many pictures at fundraisers and at campaign events with the Congresswoman. They put their arms around her. They both say they're best friends. I want you to hear a couple of her quotes. Quote, things we all hate, Jews. Here's another one. Quote, never trust a Jew. There's another one. Quote, I tried befriending a Jew once, worst idea ever. There's another one. Crimes worthy of the rope, being a Jew. And here's the kickoff. Quote, once again, I want to personally set Israel and the Israelis in it on fire and watch them burn to ashes. Burn, you bastards. I hate you. Well, tell me something. Why is this not headlines? Why does nobody care about this hatred?
Because the left, that's what they're about. That's exactly who they are. They hate Israel. They've already made it clear. You know, and I brought this up before when Israel was being bombarded with rockets the last time. It went to 13 days before Joe Biden stepped in. And the only reason why he stepped in, because Israel said, okay, we've had enough. We're about to wipe them out. He didn't come in to help Israel. He came in to protect the people that are hateful. Same thing here. They say these things and nothing happens to them. If we were to say something similar to, you know, the Muslim groups or Muhammad, for example, then they would want to deplatform us. They would want to crush us. They would say we're hateful, we're xenophobic. Everything you can think of, they will make it up about us.
And I got news for you. Talk about deplatforming. Will Johnson would disappear. American Truth Project would be gone like that if we said anything about anybody because of where we're coming from.
Yeah.
It's really
with the association, absolutely. And she's associating with people that say this hateful rhetoric. And because actually, if you ask me, she's probably feeding them to say it because, you know, Congress passed a bill for them not to be able to say hateful stuff like that anymore.
Yeah.
It's
so
ridiculous.
She has her best friend and number one fundraiser. I mean, I can't tell you how many pictures I find with them with their arms around each other. I love you, whatever. Well, it's inexplicable. And as you said, it's hate, but only the other side is allowed to hate in public. Tell people where they can find you and Unite America First.
Go to uniteamericafirst.com and you'll be able to find me and all my content.
We follow him, so should you. Thanks, Will, for coming on today. Sure appreciate your presence on ATP as usual. And for all of you out there in ATP land, if you haven't done so yet, you can just go to findberry.com. It'll take you to the website. You can sign up for all our content, including the fantastic Will Johnson, absolutely free, findberry.com. For ATP Report, I'm Barry Nussbaum.